Hello, 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 listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, Colleen Biggs, and we have another amazing show for you today on episode 26. It's Design Your Workspace for Productivity, and we have Auriemma-McKay. So I know I'm not doing justice to that, but we are so happy that she is here. And before we get started with our show, I would like to thank our sponsor for today, Julie Jones, and the Adventures of Julie Jones Get Shit Done coaching platform. Are you overwhelmed and overworked with a never-ending to-do list? Do you constantly feel tired because life seems hard and your needs are nowhere near the top of your priority list? As an adventure and breakthrough coach, Julie Jones will support you in a life that is easy, effortless, and most of all, fun. Stop spending time on the have-tos in life and truly start living a life of I get to. What are you waiting for? Take action and go to www.juliejones.biz and book a free 30-minute live out loud call with Julie. It will be the best 30 minutes of your life. I can guarantee you that. She's a friend of mine. She's been in the LEAP community for years, and I highly recommend that you reach out to her at www.juliejones.biz. And if you haven't had the opportunity, slide on over to the LEAP community at colleenbiggs.net/community. That's colleenbiggs.net/community, and check out how you can build your business in this community by being seen, being heard, and being visible. All right, ladies, now we are back to the show. And Emma is an architect. She's an interior designer and is known as the homeowner's dream home manifestor and the Realtor's architectural advisor. With her design services, she helps homeowners find space in their current home so they can be productive working from home and enjoy the many activities we now do at home while expressing who we are and how we live. She also helps people transform their homes into model homes, what they have for the enjoyment of living in it and for selling it. That is so true, Emma. Welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be here, Colleen, with you.
I find that my house always looks the best when I'm getting ready to sell it. And I ask myself the question, why didn't we do all these upgrades? And why didn't we do all of this in our home to live in our home? Why would we wait until doing that before we sell it? What is that? What happens with individuals on why we don't focus on our surroundings and where we live and make it the absolute best we can?
I think you get used to how things are, and say you sell and then you move, you put things the same way they were in the new place. Yeah. But it's always a different experience, and you can mix things up. Maybe if you have two couches in your living room, when you move, have one there and put one in the family room and put some other chairs in the living room. So just kind of mix it up.
Yeah. For those of you that are listening on the podcast, if you want to go over to Colleen Biggs, you'll be able to see the actual video on Facebook. She has a book behind her called Stress-Free Remodeling. Yes. Tell me a little bit, Emma, about what was the passion behind this project for this book? Why did you write the Stress-Free Remodeling book?
Well, this was interesting. This wasn't on my agenda to be an author. I drew for my life, and working with a coach to do my online program, she said, "Oh, well, now that you have your program, you have to write a book." I said, "I do? Okay." And it was, I'll have to admit, it was a challenge because it was so hard to condense what I wanted to get across, or just the whole point. And what my program was about and what the book is about, it's just educating people on that process if they're remodeling or designing their home or building their home, because none of my clients ever had a clue. Most of them never had done it before. And it's pretty overwhelming. It's scary. It's like learning a whole new career in a condensed time. So this was kind of a guide to get them familiar with the process so that they can actually play an active part in their process and get ready to work with their designer or architect or whomever they're going to work with. And that's the thing, that they should go to a professional designer first before they go to the contractor. So it was really helping them prepare for that journey. to make
Yeah,
it
that's
stress-free and fun, which is,
yeah, that's
it's
a great
amazing
tip.
process. Yeah.
Many people go to the contractor, they get the
Oh, yeah.
contractor in their house and they say, okay, so I this is what I envision that I want done, right? And the
Yeah.
contractor's thinking in terms of material, size, cuts,
Right.
and those types of things. And then here the homeowner that has this vision is looking at it more in the aesthetics and the feel, And so I'm
Right.
as a designer, Emma, where do you come in as the designer and working with clients? I know you even have a digital program that
Right.
helps realtors, right? Help their clients.
Yeah.
So let's talk
I
about
do.
some of the programs that you have and how you help. I know you're in Reno, Nevada. So is this an online digital platform that any realtor can use in any state?
It's the program, the class, I've given it live and remotely on Zoom.
Got it.
It is approved here in Nevada. I'm not sure it would be in other states. I
Okay.
will eventually get that. And I'm just finishing now the automated, so it will be self-study probably I have to get it approved. So within a couple months that will be available, which I'm really excited about. But the designer's role is to see beyond the original vision that the owners are thinking about.
Okay.
One of the latest projects come to mind where this couple wanted to redesign their kitchen and they had a room in the back they weren't using and they wanted to put the laundry room in a certain spot. I look at the plan and saw so much more beyond that. We got a bathroom, we had an enormous kitchen and a laundry room. And they always say, I never thought of that. And that's our magic, that's what we do.
Yeah.
We can see so much more than they can envision. And so that's why it's worth hiring a professional to help you achieve your vision.
Yeah. That's really insightful because we don't know what we don't know, right? So if that's
Right.
not our gift, if that's not our magic to be able to visually see what's
Yeah.
possible, and you're able to look at plans and say, "Oh my gosh, I have so many ideas here. Tell me more about what you want because I think this is possible and we can do this." I'm sure your clients are just elated at that point at what
Yeah.
is possible, right? That they don't
Oh,
even know. I remember someone said, "Well, we can do XYZ." And I said, "That's even possible?" And they're like, "Yeah, everything's possible." It's like, okay, I
right.
had no idea. Right. So yesterday I was on your podcast. We talked a little
Yes.
bit about our workspaces. And I mentioned how I had worked with a feng shui specialist and how I really chose to put a lot of my own awards and accomplishments and vision boards and things in front of me. So I'm staring at them. I'm looking at them right now. I have the logo for my company, the BUB Strong, positioning and all of that on my wall. What do you recommend for some steps? Let's talk to many, many, many business owners are either working from home or a small co-working space. Even employees at this point are working from home. And several of my children have been on permanent work from home now. My in-laws have, that have jobs. We have a lot of entrepreneurs in the family. So all of them work from home. So talk us through the workspace and creating it for productivity. That is the big thing, right? We talked about it yesterday. Right. If you're not acquiring a client, then you're not growing your business. It's all about the client acquisition. So how do you become productive how do you design that space for that?
Well, the first thing is getting organized and decluttering. I think, and I think that's the hardest. We get working, and I have to admit this, I do it too. I have to have specified days where I get stuff off my desk and get it cleared because it's so much distraction. And the other thing is we spend so much time looking for stuff. If we don't have it in the right place, I have a giveaway that I'll offer at the end where I can't remember the statistic offhand. It's like hours of our year is spent looking for stuff. And we're losing money. So first thing is get organized. And you might even just take everything out of the room and have a look at the space so it really functions. You want your things that you use frequently near you, your printers and those kind of things accessible, but not necessarily on your desk, especially now when we're visible on Zoom. You want something nice behind you. And also good lighting. That's so important, both the artificial lights to illuminate you on your Zoom calls and for working too. You want ambient light, such as down lights or floor lights, and then task lighting where you work. And natural light is so important. I'm looking out windows now, looking at my mountains, because there's been studies shown that having connection with nature, even, well, if you don't have windows, the next best thing is to have some kind of visual, a painting or a print of nature, because it really helps actually your productivity and sense of well-being. So that's important too.
Wow, that's huge. I only did this because I wanted it, but I have two things. I need to face my door. So I can't have the door behind me and I'm in a room. So I have to always face in every office I've ever been at in corporate America, same with my house. I position my desk to where the door is somewhere within my vision. So my back isn't to it, which means then because I do that, my windows aren't right in front of my face. They're usually to the side. So I get a little side light. That's why I have a light that lights the front of me to kind of even out that light. But my window and my husband's window in our offices face the side of our house. There really isn't a lot of beauty going on over there. There's not a lot going on. It's kind of where you hide stuff, on the side of your house. And we decided to plant plants all down outside of our windows of our offices, because I said, when I look out, I want to see beautiful flowers, which bring hummingbirds, right? And I want to see blooms and things that and I see little, what are they called? Little geckos running up and down the wall and, a few other things. But I think I know what you're saying is important. I wanted those specifically put there so that I would have that beauty, but I never thought about that creating productivity for me because of my well-being and how I felt.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been thinking about it. You go shopping and you find a great outfit that you wear and you feel really great in it. So having your environment do that for you, you're going to feel good. You're going to be more vibrant. You're going to show up differently. So it's really important how that environment will affect you. And one thing I want to mention, a couple more things, like you were saying, having your desk face the door, that's kind of the power position. We designed for offices, and also it's good feng shui. There's other elements to consider too, but that's a good one. And the other thing is, we don't want to sit all day. So if you can have a surface where you can stand a little bit, and that's important too. So I think that's pretty much the basics, and the little handout will have some more ideas. But I just did a project with somebody who just rearranged furniture. He gained 2 feet in a space. He turned his desk towards the door, and it was just a whole different feeling, a whole different energy. So just shifting things around sometime, looking at your floor plan to really gain the best flow will make a difference as well.
Now that I know that I'm in a power position in my office, I feel even better. I feel even more powerful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're right. The stand up, sit down about a year ago, I had in my corporate time, Emma, I had designed a corporate office to relocate my previous company that I worked with. And we designed all of them to where everyone could put their desks wherever they wanted, but everyone was designed for them to face their doors. There were glass walls that we had to really open up the space more. And you had a choice. You could have a permanent, regular desk or a standard desk, or a one that went up and down like a standing desk. And then you had the option. We also did these really great ergonomical chairs that had about, 25 different positions. So anyone could move their chair how they saw fit. And when I became an entrepreneur and started working at home, I got a standard desk. but I had a stand-up desk at work. And after sitting and then, the pandemic hit, it was like, whoa, I have to do something. So about a year ago, I got a portion of my desk that goes up and down. So instead of rebuying a brand new desk,
Right.
I did a portion, and I made sure that whatever was in my background would still be in my background and look portrait okay on video when I sat down and when I stood up. I'm standing up now, but when I'm sitting down, it really doesn't change the background. And that's the big thing. I can't stand it when people are on video that I'm talking to or in a networking event with, and I see their unmade bed in their background. And the first thing I think to myself is, that's unprofessional. I don't want to do work with them. They couldn't even make their bed, for the call at least. And I'm thinking, why are, couldn't you have turned it around to where something was in your background? I remember when I had 2 different kids and grandkids living with me at one point, and I had to work out of my room at one point, and I had no choice because they needed my office. And I made sure that my background was set up exactly the way it is today in my own bedroom, and that no one could see my bed or, anything like that. And I was still facing the door. So there are no excuses. It's probably my point on that, right? There are no excuses.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can buy a screen, a fold up screen to put behind you. There's all kinds of ways to do.
And do virtual. Yeah. Yes. And do virtual. There really is. And whether you like it or not, we're not judging. Emma and I aren't judging. I don't judge other people, but you will be judged by a book by its cover, no matter what. I can't really say that any other way. That if you were to show up on stage and you showed up in ratty shorts and a tank top, or you showed up in pajamas, no one's going to take you serious. So I'm using that extreme because people are like, well, I don't care if people judge me. They need to accept me the way I am. Well, I'm very much about not asking permission of other people, but I wouldn't show up unprofessional at an event, or something like that. And this is an event. When you go online and you're showing up digitally, because that's our new futures, digital and technology. If that's how you show up to an event, a conference, a seminar, a networking event, you need to be showered and dressed up every single day with your makeup and your hair done, and you're dressed up, fully dressed. I'm talking like not pajamas halfway down. And show up and how your office looks. I could invite anybody into my office at any time as a client, and I wouldn't have to clean up because the whole office looks professional at all times. And I don't have any visitors, Emma. My husband's my only visitor. Right. You know what I'm saying? So what are some other tactics that I know you've got the 7 hacks, but I love that you shared the story that you moved some things around and it changed the whole energy. So what would you recommend our listeners do for productivity in their offices today? What are some of the first steps? Should they download the 7 hacks, take that, and then actually start applying them in order? What would you recommend?
That would be a good start. Soon I will have a course on doing that where I can also help them. It'll be a combination of a course online and then one-on-one time with me. Yeah. So that'll be coming up because I had a great response all the time talking about this. But, I just want to mention too, like working at home now, we have some freedom. Mm-hmm. So not just working, standing up, go outside and get a breath of fresh air, take a 10, 15-minute break and take the dog for a walk. And, it involves all aspects of our life because now that we're home too, we can eat a little more healthy. It's all kind of a new lifestyle and we can work outside. This is the great thing with laptops. I have I have a deck upstairs and a patio in the back. So different when it's warm, I can go different places and have a whole different work experience. I get kind of casual sometimes doing Zooms on that, but still, we can do that sometimes.
Yeah, but, I like that idea.
Yeah, but I think it's just evaluating their space, what their needs are, how they function during the day. So it's like starting any design project. It's evaluating your needs, evaluating the space, and coordinating that. It's kind of like putting a puzzle together, putting all the pieces together and making a a whole product.
Yeah, I really like that. You know, I believe that we get so enthralled, and so many women that I get on the phone with, they'll say, "Oh, I'm so busy. I'm back to back to back today." And I remember that I used to be that way a lot. And I never had even a 15-minute break in between. And after about 5 hours straight, if you don't have, like, I always have a huge water on my desk. It's like a security blanket that I carry around with myself everywhere I go. It goes on planes with me. It goes to the grocery store with me. It goes everywhere with me. I think I'm afraid I'm going to run out of water and there's not going to be any water somewhere. So I just always have water with me. But having snacks at your desk, having water, setting up your calendar, this is part of the productivity part, setting up your calendar to where you have 15-minute breaks in between or 30-minute breaks in between. And that's not so that you can waste time. It's so that you can take care of yourself. Do you need to get up and clear your head and walk down to the mailbox, or you take your dog for a walk? I don't have dogs, so I would just walk to the mailbox or back, or walk around the block. Just go in the backyard and stretch a little bit, and maybe water your plants. Or I do that sometimes where I just want to walk out of my office and just get some fresh air. So we need to take care of ourselves too. This environment is it's changed. So if you're not out in the sun, you're not taking those breaks and going to lunch like you used to at a corporate office, let's say, or we're not meeting with people as much as we used to in person, and we're meeting with more of them online. Yeah, you're not out driving in your car, but then you're also not having some downtime to be able to reflect or think. And if you're just packing your day in back to back to back to back to back, that's not necessarily productive if you don't give yourself space. There needs to be some space in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a funny story about that. When I was in California, I shared an office on Cannery Row. We were the first building. We had a phenomenal view of the bay. We'd see whales sometimes.
Beautiful.
And I'd be busy, and I'd sometimes stick my head out and there's a tourist walking and I'm looking, oh, that's nice. And one day it dawned on me, I control my time. I could go out there and enjoy the view too. So it was a big lesson for me. I mean, it's so crazy to think of that, but you really have to realize that you do have control of your time and it is good for you. It's beneficial. You can be more productive.
Yeah. I love that. We can't control anything but ourselves. So our time is our time and we get to control that. So that has a lot to do with your worth, is putting boundaries up where you don't allow people to book on your schedule back to back to back to back. And you allow yourself that time in between to take a drink of water, to move around. When I work with my clients, we talk a lot about their offices and their productivity within their offices and setting themselves up for a routine. And we talk about the morning routine and not at your desk. I don't want anyone to go to their desk and be in front of a screen first thing in the morning. That's why I don't do 5 a.m. clubs or anything like that, because I don't want to be in front of a screen talking to someone else at 5 a.m. I want to be sitting in my comfortable furniture in my office that's not at my desk. That's where I get to use it, reading books that are right there on my end table. I've got my glasses, my reading glasses, my highlighters, my pen, so I can write my journals, my gratitude journals. And that's where I sit, for the first part of the day for a good hour. And then I get up and I work out. So I go to a completely different room in my house to work out. I've chosen not to leave my house to work out. My clients, some of them walk their dogs for, an hour in the morning, or work out, outside of the home and go to a gym or go run or do kickboxing, whatever it is. We just need to set up some type of routine for ourselves and design it. Just like the book we're reading, Atomic Habits, to make it easy. It's got to be easy cues, and so I have an alarm that goes off an hour after my first alarm that wakes me up that says, okay, now it's time to go work out. So after my reading time, it's time to go work out and then shower and get ready, for the day. So when you design your life, this is what we're talking about today, Emma. When you design your life, design your environment that supports healthy habits, productivity, working, healthy habits for your eating, healthy habits for your physical health. When you're designing this environment to support that, it's easier to stay on track. Would you not agree with that?
Oh, for sure. For sure. And I love, like you were talking about, setting your day up, and it's all about the intention. You get grounded doing that, I meditate, I think you said you do, and doing the journaling and all that, it's kind of grounding yourself. So when during the day stuff comes at you sideways, you can handle it. It's so much easier that way. And setting that intention and just a few affirmations, it's going to be a great day. The universe is going to support me. And, that is a great way to start your day. I think that's important. I have
that's really great. There hasn't been one successful person that I've ever met that didn't read 60 books a year, or go to 3 or 4 conferences a year, or continue learning, continue educating yourself, but set your environment up for that. Think about it today. We're going to talk to Emma about her hacks. She's going to tell us how to locate those. The links are already there on Facebook for you listening to this on the podcast. They're right at your fingertips. All you have to do is click on her link to download these hacks. For you listening to this, evaluate your working space. If you say, well, my house there's nowhere else for me to work but the dining room table, then I want you, and which, by the way, that's happened to me before, set up we had to move my husband out to the dining room table and myself out to the dining room table. At one point we shared it. We set up the dining room table for us to be able to have a good working environment with things behind us for us to be on video. And we discussed how we were going to have phone calls, where we were going to hold those phone calls if the other person was on a phone call. And you can make this work no matter where you're at. There are no excuses. So stop making excuses already before you get started. Your working environment matters on your productivity. It really, really does. And Emma has some hacks for you guys. She's going to talk about those and how you access those. And of course, there's so many other ways that you can reach out to her. So Emma, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. I just want to say, when you're looking at your house, looking for a space like that, just be creative and think out of the box, because like Colleen says, you can make it work. It's always possible. That's what I always say. We want to eat it, have our cake and eat it too. And you can do that with your workspace. So the 7 hacks, you can find them at StressFreeRemodeling.com/hacks. And you can download it there. And my website is StressFreeRemodeling.com. You can find about other things that I do, other offers, or just call me if you need some help trying to figure out where a better space can be for you.
Yeah. We're talking about designing your space today, but if you're a realtor or you want to get her advice, right? And you're a real estate professional and you're staging homes, or you want to know how to, do something that's easy and not very expensive to get a home to be staged to look beautiful, to sell it at a higher dollar net. These days, houses are selling sight unseen, but, it's market's slowing down a little bit. Yeah. As a real estate agent, you should be educated. I mean, the conversation you could have with Emma on the phone could be the difference of the sale of the next house. So especially if you're new into real estate and you're not really sure, and you stay away from listings because that's very nerve-wracking for you and you'd rather just work with buyers. So again, this is for so many people out there, whether you're looking to redesign your house, whether you're looking for more productivity in your workspace, if you're a real estate professional, whatever it may be, she's a great start if you're looking to do any of these things. Get her hacks, get on her list, go to her website, email her at stressfreeremodeling@gmail.com. All of the links are there. Emma, you've been an incredible guest today.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I have too.
You've got some great hacks, like really good hacks. It made me, just the one thing you said, now that I know, because I'm facing my door, that's what they call a power play. I feel more powerful, all because you just said that. That's all I needed. Right. So now I'm going to show up more powerful. I'm going to feel more powerful. And I changed nothing. Right. I changed nothing. It was just information that Emma shared. Yeah. Just because she shared it. So again, you guys, she's brilliant at what she does. I love Emma. And I've stayed in contact with her for quite some time now. So her and I could continue doing some things together. And I would even love to bring you in more, Emma, with my clients to talk with them more about how they can, you're such an expert at this, of how they can produce an environment for themselves for higher productivity. I think it's excellent. So You're one
Great.
of a kind, Emma. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
It's been a joy.
Great. Thank you so much, Emma. All right, ladies, I just want to remind you, you're the only you that's ever been. Here we go again, right? You're the only you that will ever be. How you design your environment to support healthy habits is up to you. Nobody's coming. No one's going to say, hey, you should do this and force you to do it. No one's going to give you permission. Give yourself the permission. Download these free 7 hacks. You've got nothing to lose by looking at the options of what you can do in your office. And I know just from the one step my husband and I took with talking with a feng shui specialist and adding some elements into our office, it changed the way we felt in our office. And so, now talking with Emma and getting to know Emma even better and bringing her in to work closer with my community, the LEAP community and my clients, I know that they're going to be even more productive, and they didn't have to learn training on sales or anything else. They're going to be more productive because their environment supports their habits. All right, Emma, thank you so much for being here again. And until next time, everyone, be you and be strong, and we'll see you then. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.